For almost a week now, some Nigerians have been protesting to press home their demand for a better living condition. And series of activities shaped this period. And the governments at all levels have been appealing for dialogue and better understanding from Nigerians, despite the unpatriotic acts and outcome of a supposedly peaceful protest, like attacks on public and private property, looting and waving of foreign flags by some of the protesters, loss of lives among others. As emphasized by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and some good-spirited Nigerians, dialogue and national unity play important roles in shaping the collective identity and strength of a diverse nation like Nigeria. Just as the flag serves as a symbol of that unity to remind us of our common goals and aspirations as Nigerians. So, our flag, our symbol of unity, dialogue, promotes our mutual respect, national unity, indispensable in shaping a cohesive and resilient society. And so defining national sovereignty will be the focus of the program today. Welcome to Nigeria Today on NTN News 24. I am Minna Daniels. And joining us in the studio to have this conversation is William Dogo. He is Director, Legal Services, National Orientation Agency. Glad to welcome you, sir.
Welcome. Thank you.
And of course, Barrister Mustafa Aborire, a legal practitioner, is also here. Thank you, Barrister, for coming on board.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, Nigeria.
Well, now that we have two legal personalities in the studio, let's start by getting to have an idea of their thoughts about the activities of the protesters. Let me start with you, Dogo.
Good evening, viewers. I think my comment will go this way. It is rather unfortunate and indeed disheartening that the protest had to take the dimension that it took. But I would like to say that from what we were told by those who were organizing the protest, it was supposed to be a peaceful protest. But along the line, it is sad to note that the protest turned violent, and at the end of the day, there were cases of looting, vandalization, and all sorts of criminal acts. So basically what I will say is that it's actually unfortunate the way and manner the protest had to go. We had expected a very peaceful protest where people will converge, articulate their views, and then present it to the government, for consideration. So generally I would say I'm disappointed with the way.
Thanks so much, Dogo. Barrister Mustafa, let me get your thoughts on how important is it actually for Nigerians to consider peace and unity in any form of attitude, any form of protests, any act they want to indulge in. How important is it for them to consider peace and national unity?
Well, peace and national unity, these two words are not negotiable. They are not. And you can see that our laws, especially grand norm of our laws, that is the Constitution, emphasizes on peace, progress, and national unity, that those things are not negotiable. So if the peace is threatened or national unity is also threatened by any act of a Nigerian exercising his own right under the Constitution to express his own anger, discontent, or anything that is not sitting well with him, he should not exceed the boundary of peace. Immediately he gets to the boundary of peace and he jeopardizes that boundary or that peace, a commission of an offense has been done by him. He has committed an offense. It might be unlawful assembly. It might also be rioting, which we have laws that are against it in the country. Go to the penal code. You see, rioting, unlawful assembly, go to section 100, 102, 102 of penal code applicable in the northern Nigeria. The same thing applies in the southern Nigeria, where you have criminal code. Offenses that are against or that threaten the peace and the national unity of a nation, at times may even be likened to be a treasonable offense, a treasonable felony, because anything that touches on the fabric of cohesion, of living together as Nigerians, anything that can tear the country apart is not sitting well with the Constitution. Okay. And you know, Constitution section 1 of the Constitution and also section 1 sub 2 says that the sovereignty of this country, the peace and unity of Nigeria are not negotiable, and anything that threatens those things will be seen to be to have constituted a felony. That is the law. Okay,
thank you so much. Yes. Coming from the background of the National Orientation Agency, with regards to the action of some Nigerians waving another country's flag in this country, what is the implication?
Well, this very unpatriotic, first and foremost, we need to really understand or have some sort of a background about the importance of a national flag before we can comment, on the unpatriotic and then flying, other foreign flags. We need to understand what the Nigerian flag stands for. The Nigerian flag is a symbol of authority and unity of Nigerians as one indivisible people. And the truth of the matter here is that the law governing the Nigerian flag, clearly states, that the Nigerian flag should, far and above any other flag, as far as Nigeria is concerned, be taken with every respect. The way it is flown, the way it is kept, and even the way and manner it is even being destroyed, even when we had to do so. So I think generally, what happened, like you rightly know, is a treasonable offense, for anybody, to hoist, or to wave a foreign flag within, the confines of our great country. So I think it is very, very disturbing, and I think every well-meaning Nigeria should condemn that very act. The sad thing here is that I want to believe, and I strongly suspect, that some of these protesters that we are, flagging and then waving this flag, I want to believe we are sponsors. We are sponsored. Because some of them, if you ask, I want to believe that they don't even know, the flag that the country represents. And just today I was reading one of the national daily, where one of the protesters in Kaduna was asked as to why, they are, waving the Russian flag. And he said it's just to anger the Americans, because they believe it is the American government that is responsible for the so-called or alleged, anti-human policies that are presently in Nigeria. So I think generally the implication here is that a lot of, our youth who majorly constitute those who are engaged in that have lost the sense of direction, and unfortunately they are being used, just to bring the country to disrepute.
Okay, thank you very much. Gentlemen, we're still here discussing the importance of national sovereignty, but we'll take a breather now and get the thoughts of Nigerians out there on the streets. And when we return, Barrister Mustapha will also add his thoughts to the legal implication of waving or hoisting another man's flag in this country. So let's take that voice pop.
Nigerian flag is a fantastic flag. Why? Because you don't see you see other countries waving their red, that is blood, you understand. So to me, Nigerian flag is one of the best flag I ever seen in the world. That is just, I'm a Nigerian and I'm proud to be a Nigerian. So it's at the expense of anything I cannot wave, and I still believe in this country. That's just the truth.
To carry it, you have to respect your own country. Why you have to respect your country? You have to show your own before you show another country flag.
Maybe they have motive, but the main reason there's no representing another country flag in their own country, no matter how bad it is.
And for those who are going with the flag of Russia, I don't know the meaning of that, because we still want Nigeria.
Okay, welcome back, Dogo and Barrister Mustapha. You've heard the thoughts of Nigerians out there. So let me come back to you, Dr. Mustapha. Two things. That flag was probably allegedly produced here in Nigeria. And secondly, it was waved, hoisted, whatever they choose to call it. What is the legal implication of one producing and secondly, waving or hoisting?
Well, thank you. Both the one producing and the person that is also waving it, they are collectively aiding and abetting an offense, and they have committed that offense. I'll take you to the Constitution. If you go to Section 28 of the Constitution, in fact, Constitution, the act that promulgated the Constitution is also Act number 28. It might not be a coincidence. It might be a deliberate act by the drafter of that Constitution. They want the citizens of this country to know their duties and rights to the state. And it is put under Chapter 2, which is the fundamental objective and directive principles of state policy. And it says, if I can read, it says that it shall be the duty of every citizen, by Section 28 of the Constitution, to abide by this Constitution, respect the ideals and its institutions, the national flag, respect the national flag, the national anthems, the national pledge, and legitimate authorities. That section had spoken succinctly about the duties and rights of every Nigerian. So if you had done anything that is contrary to the letters and the spirit of this section, it means you have contravened the law of the land. And if you do it jointly, somebody abets you to it, two of you are committers of that offense. In the commission of that offense, which is a treasonable felony, if you go to Section 37, 38, 39, 40, 41 of the Criminal Code, it says that anything that you do to overhaul the president or the governor, or to send fear, or to change the government, is an act which is treasonable. And a treasonable offense is death, attracts death penalty. It is only when you are young, just like these young boys. The law says that they will be kept until they become of age, when the president or the governor will now say, okay, this is how we're going to apply the law against them. Or if it were to be a woman, that woman, especially when it is discovered that she is pregnant, that is when the law will be suspended pending when she delivers of a baby. So what I'm saying, the long and the short, is that the person that what this produces it, including the person that is hoisting it in the soil of Nigeria, a sovereign state. Nigeria is a sovereign state. It's like some people don't know the implication of what they do. Law will take its normal courts And we have come together to say this constitution shall govern our affairs. So doing that is very, very unconstitutional, unpatriotic.
Okay.
And it can be dealt with law.
Also at the grassroots, so you interface with people one-on-one. Please tell us, how best do you think Nigerians can, make their voices heard, without really engaging in any acts of violence, protests, and destruction?
Well, I think the National Orientation Agency has provided a lot of platform for citizens' engagement. And there are several other platforms where the officers of the NOA, both especially at the grassroots, we call them COMOs. That's Community Orientation and Mobilization Officers. They are the foot soldiers of the agency at the grassroots. Now, they interact closely, with the people. And usually, in the process of their interaction, the interface, they are able to get, the views. Mind you, the agency has a very robust feedback mechanism to the government. And this we do every fortnight by getting the views of Nigerians on virtually every aspect of governance and every aspect that touches on their social life. So this is a veritable avenue that the agency has been using, to engage the citizens. And I think so far so good. The agency has been living up to its billing in providing, such views, positions, and perspective of citizens, to government. Most especially for the purpose of maybe providing policies, that will be for the general benefit of Nigerians.
Okay, Togo, thank you. I'm still going to stay with you. Yeah. In spite of all that you have reeled out, which your agency, it's doing or has done to make sure there is communication, there is advocacy, and all of that. This has happened. But now that it has happened, it probably shows that there is a lacuna somewhere. I mean, people are not properly informed or educated about the consequences of doing this kind of things that's happened. So what is your agency going to do going forward to curb this kind of a situation?
I think I would like to state that, you see, when you train a child in the way he ought to go, and then somebody comes from outside and then disabuse his mind, corrupt his mind, that all that you have taught him is not true. You see, you cannot blame the parent for not doing anything or for not carrying out his responsibility. I want to tell you, it's my opinion, there is nothing that was not done to avert, this protest, turning into a violent protest. There were a lot of dialogue engagements that were carried out, those that are in the open and even those behind the scene. But you see a situation where some people decide to come together and then sponsor, some, young and naive, children to go out in the street to burn, to kill, to vandalize. You cannot blame, someone who has taught them all the values that is. So it's not a question of what the agency needs to do. I think the agency will only continue to do what it has been doing. When you talk to a child, to imbibe a particular, behavior, culture or attitude, and he doesn't, what do? You continue. Okay? You continue to emphasize reiterate and they amplify. You know,
It's so stubborn. That no matter how you talk to the child keeps being stubborn, being destructive, being violent, and you keep following the same method, doing the same very thing, saying the same very things. What do you do to this child?
well, there is always a limit to what you can do. And that is why we have the law. And that is why we have prescription for those who are deviant. That is it. If it gets to a point where somebody has refused, you know, to take all the values, you know, that you want him to imbibe, the next thing is, you know, for the law to take its course on him.
Okay, answered. Thank you. Let me come to Barrister Mustafa. Please tell us, what do you think should be done to, you know, waving the flag and or hoisting the flag? What do you think should be done from your legal point of view?
Well, you want me to speak strictly law. If it is to speak on law, ignorance of law is no excuse. Because some of them may say that they don't know the implication. I will agree completely with Mr. Dogo of our National Orientation Agency that if the child is defiant, despite all your tutorings, all your advices and everything, that child will go and burn his own hand. I want to believe that the law will take its course.
Okay.
I'm not saying that the law must take its course, but well, the government, the president or the governor of the respective states may want to pardon. But the law, if it is to take its course, like I told you, if the person is of age, is felony, and the person dies, what do you call it? Public execution. So that the national orientation should do more. Now, jingles, we are no longer in the era of what do you call it, radio. A lot of them don't even carry radio. Let us be doing things like that on the social media. Many of these youths, they have social media because they do use it to disseminate information. In fact, those people who sponsor them as well, they sponsor them through social media. They may even send money to them through all these OPay, all these banks that are not what do you call it, regulated generally. So I want to believe that you need to do more to advise your child, your children, Nigerian children, that they should abide by the law and they should know the implication of every action they do. But like, if you want law to apply, I've told you the position of the law.
Okay.
So that is
okay.
the way I see it.
And going forward, what measures do you think should be put in place by government at all levels, all tiers, to forestall further occurrences?
Yes, I think the government really did well because they've learned through what happened in the NSAS period. We also learned from Kenya experience. And government did a lot of things, like you said. Yes, he said it that both in the background. They did a lot of things to avert this. I want to appeal that our government should do more by doing some interventions that will calm the nerves of people. And government should also uncover those who have political ambition, who are pushing all these things, because we know some hands are under the cover.
Thank you.
Thank
Dogo, your final word, just a line.
Well, I will continue to call on Nigerians, most especially our youth, to be patriotic and to know that we don't have any other country apart from Nigeria.
Okay.
The flag of foreign countries that they are hoisting and then waving, if they to those countries today, I can bet
At the moment, but we must draw the curtain right here for today. But first, let me appreciate our guest, Mustafa Agbarire, barrister, legal practitioner. Thank you, sir, for your input.
Thank you.
And of course, William Dogo, Director, Legal Services, National Orientation Agency. Thank you for your thoughts.
Thank you very much.
And to you, our dear viewer, thank you so much for always being part of this. Remember, the program Nigeria Today is weekdays at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also watch a repeat at 10 o'clock in the night, as well as other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24. Wahab Minna Daniels here saying thanks for your time and goodbye.